All right, everybody. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Again, my name is Hunter Kuykendall, and I am here with my colleague, David King. Very excited for you to have you guys on the webinar today. Take some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about specifically our Loss Runner product, which is, one of our top features, something that, agents across the country are raving over. So really excited to have you guys here and, excited to show you guys what we have. We'll go over at the end the territories, who you need to contact, and how we can get you set up with learning a little bit more. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to David King, and he will go over some of the ins and outs of the Loss Runner for you.
All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. All right. Okay, so the way the system is designed, if you've never used Appulate before, typically the way the system is set up is we'll bring an accord in, and we take this data and we bridge it into our system, and then this brings us into our main system where all this data is bridged in. Now I'm going to show two different ways today. I'm going to show how you can bring it in with an accord, and I'm also going to show how you can manually bring this data in. So the way we get to our Loss Runner is just on the left-hand side over here. There's a little tab called Loss Runner. And underneath here, now we're showing three different markets that we need to get loss runs from. So these are going to be from our, as I mentioned earlier, from our accord, or I can manually create this as well. So we're going to go ahead and minimize this out now that it's no longer here. So once you're in here, as I mentioned before, you're going to see those carriers that you need to request your loss runs for, as well the years. And in order to get this started, all we do is click our Send Loss Runner button. Now from here, you're going to notice we've already pre-populated our client's information. So this is your insured you're going to want to try to get those loss runs for. And again, I'm going to go over how you can manually do this without that accord data at the end. So we've got Agora West, which was on our accord. But interestingly enough, below this, if you notice, it's already auto-populated our loss run department for Agora West. So because Appulate's been around for so long, we've been able to capture a large amount of loss run departments and keep them in a big database. So we're going to be able to pre-populate this for you, so you're not having to send those clients back to their previous agents, putting them on notice, fighting credits, all that nasty stuff you don't want to worry about, plus just the time it takes to look this stuff up. We pre-populate it for you, and then if you notice, it's already here, and then we've got those policies over these periods, and then it's just formulated in such a way, the wording is worded in such a way that it's requesting the loss runs on behalf of your agency. And this is what's called our letter of authorization. So we've got 4 different letters to choose from. You've got a broker of record letter, agency loss run letter, or insured loss run letter. And if I just click the insured loss run letter, you're going to notice it just changes some of the wording down here to come from the insured instead of you. So we'll just keep it letter of authorization just to make it easy for this demo. So I'm going to click down here to enter our client's information. In this case, I'm going to put myself so that I can show you how this works. Put my email address in here. Hit save and hit send. Now, if you notice down here before I hit send out, there is another little tool down here that some people really do like. This is a reminder feature. So what this is basically going to do is when I checkbox this, it's going to email remind me at however many business days I've selected about these loss runs. And we'll cover that here in just a minute. So I'm going to hit OK up here. And if you notice, it's going to say we're about to send this electronically, and then we're going to fax it over automatically as well. We're going to go over that as well. So I hit OK. And now at this point, what this is doing is this is generating this automatic letter, and then it's sending it to me or the client in this case. This. So we're getting. So we got this from that request. So now we're seeing what your client would see. So we're going to click this real quick here. And what we're greeted with is a letter that's been pre-generated. So you didn't have to create a PDF, fill in the blanks, put in a signature piece, none of these things you've had to do yourself. So I'll click this little button here, type in the name. So I'll type in my name. I'd hit save and insert. And then the moment I hit finalize, and again, this is your client doing this, the moment you hit finalize, it's going to take this and it's going to fax it out to this fax number up here, as well as it's going to copy those trailing documents, which are vital to prove that this has been an electronic signature. It's going to email these to your personal box so that you have a copy of it in case there's something that happens. So let's say maybe this phone number was incorrect, or maybe there was another issue where it didn't come through very clear or something, and it needs to be resent. You have a copy of those documents, so you don't need to resend that out to your client. But after that has been signed and sent, basically at that point, everything's like normal. So all we're really doing is we're facilitating a automation of this request. So we're not actually going directly to the carriers or anything like that. What we're doing is we're creating the form that you normally would create, but we're saving you a lot of time. When I was an agent, this would take me about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on the carrier, by having to call to figure out where to send these to, create the form, put the DocuSign on it, and then wait for it to come back to me and email it out. So this is a lot of time, as you all know, that it takes to do this, and we're able to automate this into just a few seconds. So I'm going to show you real time how quickly you can do this. So if I was a CSR or an agent in the office, I would literally click this button, make sure this looks good, CNA looks good, scroll down, and since I've already entered my client in once, I scroll down and it's already in here again. I hit save, I hit send, okay, and I'm done. So in 30 seconds, I just send out this request instead of 20 minutes, or maybe if you're faster than me, maybe you can get it done in 15 minutes. But regardless, you've been able to save a huge amount of time by just clicking a few buttons. And we can do even one more. Just scroll down, select my client, save, and send. It's that fast with our system. Now, I had mentioned earlier in this call that we're going to show you guys how to do this manually as well. So if you didn't bring this in via an Accord and you wanted to enter all this data, we would basically just create a new client. So let's say Tom's Tacos. And we're going to just say, for this case, we'll just say it's a BOP here. And now we've got no data in here. We've got just a business name. But if we go over to loss runs here, if you notice it says edit insurance history. So basically at this point here, I would just manually type in the years, the markets. Now, as you type in the market name, this is going to auto-populate. So if I type C for CNA, it's going to pull it up. And then let's say I just put a policy number in there. And let's just say for 2 years in a row, they had CNA. And then if we go down here, let's just say travelers. So as you notice, it's populating all these carriers for us that are in the database automatically, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out the full name or spell it all out. And you just basically do this for all the years. So we'll just say that's all the years of coverage that they have. So we'll hit save. And now if you remember, this looks just like the previous screen we were at. But when we go into send loss runner, now we've got a few other blanks we still need to add in. So we'd fill in Tom's Tacos address. Let's just say they're in anywhere. Let's say Texas. I don't just kind of throwing something in here. And then we go down here, and it's literally the same thing we were doing before, where we'll need to enter our contacts information. We hit save, and then when I hit send, it's going to do just as we did before. But the advantage here is, again, we just manually created this. So you don't need that Accord to do this data, which is beneficial because I know a lot of you are working with prospective clients, and you may not have that Accord level data, and you want to request these loss runs at the very beginning. So this kind of gives you a way to kind of get that jump started. So that's, in a nutshell, our loss runner product. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to kind of cover this. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back to Hunter, and he's going to show you guys a few more things that our system does include as well. If you want to go ahead and take it away, Hunter.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. One moment here. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, sorry about this. Dave, can you give me presenter rights, please?
Oh, my apologies.
You're fine.
There you go.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So let me go ahead. Perfect. Okay. All right. So as Dave said, gonna go over some of the other features, really high level. Obviously, the loss runner again is kind of obviously a huge time savings, but we have a few other things out there that really differentiate us and kind of help the entirety of the process. We don't want to help one avenue. We want to be a total solution in your submission process. So obviously, if you look here, kind of goes over some of the other highlights of our platform. You may notice, it says that we're saving an average of 37 minutes per submission. Obviously, that ranges. The more companies you're submitting to, more markets you're submitting to, you may see that time become even, more time savings with that. Obviously, that's going to translate to roughly 25 hours per month. And we currently have a network of over 250,000 registered agents across the country. So, obviously some impressive numbers there. And again, that's because of the loss runner and a few of these other features you see down below. First and foremost, we do have the abilities through our email submissions. So any markets you're submitting to, markets, MGAs, wholesalers, brokerages that you are submitting to with emails and supplementals, you are going to have the ability to submit to through the Appulate platform. You have the ability to actually schedule submissions, which is a fan favorite, if you will, being able to actually schedule a submission down to an exact date and time. So let's say you're working on 1/1 renewals or anything that's future effective, you're actually going to have the ability to be able to schedule that and make sure that you're the first to market, scheduling it for the first day it's eligible to submit at 12:01 a.m. And you're not going to have to worry about scratching your head to figure out how these other agencies beat you to market when you're waking up at 5:36 in the morning just to send off a submission. So going to kind of give you some peace of mind on that front. We also have our web link, which is actually going to allow you to submit directly to the company portals that you're used to working with. So rather than having to go in and rekey the information in Liberty Mutual, Hartford, Travelers, just to name a few websites, our platform is actually going to take all that information from the Accord form and auto-populate it directly over into their platform, meaning you're not going to have to rekey any of that information for markets that we do have cohesion with. So eliminating the need, entirely to rekey information throughout the entirety of the application. We also do have OCR technology, meaning that it's going to be able to recognize scanned documents. So this is actually going to fall under the capability of handwritten documents as well. Obviously, they're going to have to be legible. So, we do recommend using typed out documents, but if you do happen to have someone in your office who prefers to hand fill them and they do have very legible handwriting, that actually will work as well through our platform and auto-populate that in. We obviously have an ad engine, which disables pop-ups showing market advertisements. So you're not going to have to worry about that. And then finally, we do have our insured portal, which is going to allow you to collect all the data, put it in one nice spot, be able to track your reports there, kind of everything in between to be able to, track every bit of progress if you don't choose to do that in the AMS that you use, or if you're not using an AMS. We give you the ability to, like I said, track reports, who's submitting what to which markets. You're also able to go down to a very granular level in a specific submission. Let's say you have multiple producers working on a submission. It's actually going to timestamp every activity that's done based off of the profile. So if you have 2 or 3 producers working on one submission or someone happens to be out, you need to step in, it's going to timestamp, let you know exactly where they left off, and they can actually leave notes as well. So you don't have to play that back and forth with other people in your office. You're going to know exactly where they, left off on the specific submission. Obviously, that's a very just high level of the other features we have in our platform. And I will tell you that it's a one-size-fits-all, if you will. We do not piece out the platform. So you do get access to all of this. And our pricing is competitive enough that even if you're looking at just one feature, we have agents that step up for that reason. So please contact us if you guys want to know more. Obviously, we can go through an individual demo on any of these features or more clarification on the loss runner. And I'm going to go ahead and give you our contact information here. So we did just have a recent staffing change. So if you do fall in the category here, that's any of these, this greenish blue, the green states, if you will, reach out to Dave or I. Obviously, if you fall under either of our actual territories, feel free to reach out to us. And then if you fall in those, like I said, the green states, you can reach out to either of us, and we'll make sure to, get you in the right direction, answer any questions you have, and if you're interested, get you set up and using the actual platform. So we appreciate you guys attending today. We know it was short and sweet. Obviously, we're going to give you some time back, but first, we do want to go over any questions that anyone might have. So you guys can feel free to go ahead and type in the questions box. And if not, like I said, reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to take you through a one-off demo or phone call to go through anything one-off you guys might have. Okay, looks like we do have one question here asking how many markets the loss runner is actually compatible with. So I'll tell you, this is actually compatible with all markets based off of the way that we're actually requesting this. This is making it, satisfy compliance, if you will, creating the proper paper trail. And this is actually going to be compatible with all markets throughout all lines of business on the commercial line side.
Let's see here. We've got for just loss runner. Does your so I've got Betsy here asked a question. Does the client have to sign each request? So that's a great question, and it depends on the type of form you're sending out. If you send out a broker of record letter or you send out an agency request, no, they don't have to sign it because you're the existing agent on file. But I will tell you, and this kind of goes for everybody, I'd highly recommend looking up your state statute for loss run request. And I recently learned about this because different states, a lot of us were licensed in just one state. Some of us were licensed in others. Different states have different statutes. So California is totally different than, say, Kansas or Connecticut. But for example, like California is 10 business days. They're supposed to send the loss runs to the client. So even though you may request them, if they follow the heart of the law, they only have to send them to the client. They don't even have to send them to you. So as much as you may want them to come to you, they may not even send them to you. So I would definitely recommend to everybody on this call, take a minute and look up your statute so that if you're having trouble getting loss runs sent to you, when you look that up, you may find that it's the same thing where they're only required to send them to the client. So the carrier may just not send them to you at all. Ulysses asked, what is the cost of loss run feature? That's a great question as well. We will individually reach out to everybody at the end of our demo today. We're going to, later this afternoon, we'll start reaching out to everybody. Ulysses, I will make sure that we send out that pricing information for you. If anybody else wants pricing information as well, you can feel free to email either one of us and we can go deeper into that for you. As Hunter mentioned earlier, it's, there's a lot of differences in our platform's kind of one size fits all. And the way we price things is kind of based on your agency size. So we just need to work with each of you individually to get that pricing out to you.
Thank you, Dave. And then Graham asked, what happens after the client signs the loss run? So this is actually a good question. Basically, what's going to happen, this is what's really nice, is it's actually going to skip a step, if you will. So as soon as the client signs it, rather than coming back to your agency inbox and then you having to send it off on their behalf, it's actually going to automatically forward directly over to that former carrier's home office loss runs department. So again, skipping the step there, taking out, another part of the equation, and the way it's coming across is going to look, like I said, directly, as opposed to coming, directly from, you, the agent on their behalf, it's going to be coming across essentially like it's directly from the customer themselves. And that's another piece that's actually making this very successful, is that, obviously these markets don't want to release these loss runs. It's a very large problem in our industry. But the way it's coming across, the compliance and paper trail it's creating is kind of forcing them and giving them really no option. So it is skipping that step and going directly and automating the entirety of the process.
Matthew asked a question. I missed the first part. Is there a way to see that? So just so everybody knows, there will be a recording sent to everybody that attended today's meeting. I do believe it's scheduled to go out one day after. So that was set up prior to this meeting. So you guys will get that, but I believe it will come tomorrow. So hopefully that's okay for everybody. If you need a copy before then, you can reach out to us as well. Let's see, that was Matthew at 10:17. Let's see here, for loss runs, we have a different document for each policy year for the client to sign. So not for each year difference, but for each carrier, obviously, they'll need their own signature and everything on it. But if the client is, let's say, they were insured with, let's say, AmTrust for 3 years, they wouldn't need to sign a document for each year. We just combine it all into one and send it out.
And then Sean asked about the customer portal. So this is actually a reverse portal. It's actually going to give you the ability to send back any of the questions from the questionnaire to the customer to complete. So this is going to work throughout the accords and supplementals themselves and the generalized questionnaire broken down by market. So you can actually send up to the entirety of the application to a customer to complete. Obviously, for a non-insurance professional, that is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. So we do have a lot of agencies that use this. You can actually break it down by section and questions as well. So you can send over a very manageable piece. And again, what's nice about this, let's say the customer works third shift or for whatever reason, they're just very tough to get in touch with on the phone after you did your initial fact finding. You can send this over to them. They'll click the link. They'll be able to fill out these questions. Even if it's, accords questions, it's going to break it down to a nice Q&A view that's very simplistic, a little bit easier to understand, like I said, for the non-insurance professional than the actual accord form. They'll fill it out, and when they submit it back, it will actually automatically come back into the Appulate platform. So you're not going to have to worry about, hounding them to get that over to you or finding the email and inputting it manually. It's going to do the work for you again and bring that work over automatically.
I've got Don here. He asked, Don Leva. I'm sorry if I spelled that wrong. I apologize. Do you have integration with an Ams system? And then there was another one. Do you use? Does it work with Epic? So the way that we interact with agency management systems is where we can pull the data from it via the accords. So our system is designed to read that accord and bridge the data into the system. So we have a specific printer driver that we've created. And what that does is basically you go in your agency management system and you tell it to print a specific accord. Like, for example, I used a 130 and I printed the 130 and chose our printer driver, which in turn brings that data into our system. At this time, there's no backwards way to get the data back into the systems, and partially because a lot of these agency management systems are charging huge premiums, like upwards of $10,000 to get access rights per user. So like your agency would have to pay $10,000 to get access to go back into to get into their systems. So we've really kind of pulled a wait and see until the whole technology industry starts to open those back ends up and make it more affordable. We really haven't done that yet. However, there is some workarounds. If you want to reach out to us or Hunter directly, it's a little too complex to go over on this call, but there is some workarounds that we have to get the data back in there. And Helen asked at 10:17, if the carrier does not auto-populate, would you be able to request to add it? Absolutely. So it's very rare nowadays. I see a carrier not in there, but if there is one that is not, you can certainly request to add it. One thing I did not show on the demo was there is a way to edit the phone number or fax or email number as well. So if you have a better number, you're able to change that and it becomes more of a community-based system where other agencies are able to update that and put the best information in.
And then Chris Pelnick asked how we can set up a submission to be sent at a later date. Chris, obviously, if you want to connect with me one-off, I know you guys are currently using the platform. I'd be happy to go over that with you. It's very simplistic. All you have to do is basically schedule it in the email submission style. You're going to be able to have a little button there that's going to allow you to do it. But like I said, let's connect one-off on that and make sure you guys are up to speed on it.
What is the ETA to get loss runs back? John Sharp asked. John, that's going to be the regular time. So, and again, this is going to fall back on that state statute thing. Find out what your statute is in your state. If it's California, it's 10 business days. They have to get back to you. If they're not in compliance and they're not working with you, call them up directly and tell them when you sent them out. And if they're still fighting you, then you may have to do what I did last week and actually I had a customer of mine that had to call the state of California insurance department because somebody was refusing to send out their loss runs. They kept wanting to go through the agent, and that's just not the way that this works. Let's see here. Can this be used to send loss runs to GAs? Yes, it can. I will say though, sometimes the GAs may come back and say, hey, we sent that through AmTrust. You need to go to AmTrust. But if the GA wrote it themselves, then absolutely they'll be able to get those loss runs.
Yeah, and then Alex Kern asked if the loss runs will automatically send a second request. So during the loss run process, you're actually going to be able to set up a reminder or follow-up feature at whatever date of your choosing or whatever your state statute is. So you can actually set it up to automatically resend if there has not been a response by that time. So let's say that you're in a hurry, you want to get it 5 days, 5 days from now you want it to resend if it hasn't been actually already signed. You can automatically do that in the platform. So yes, it will automatically send that feature, and you have the ability to basically choose, at what point you want it to resend essentially if they haven't signed already. And then Sean Donnelly asked, can we write with a company we are not appointed with yet? Can Appulate help us with the appointment request? So we are going to have a handful of open brokerage markets through our platform. Basically, these are going to give you access to get back accurate quotes through these markets, but you are still going to actually have to go through the appointment process and get appointed with these markets to actually write this business. So it will give you an idea of if a market is going to be worth gaining an appointment with, because it's going to let you see, if it's actually, within your agency's appetite, which is obviously nice. Nothing's more frustrated, from my insurance past life, where you go through the appointment process, jump through all the hoops, and you think it's going to kind of be an end-all be-all, and they come back and you're never able to write anything with them because they're not competitive at all. So it will kind of alleviate that, but it's not going to automatically give you appointments just by signing up with
us. Yeah, and I've got, let's see here. We've got, once the loss runs are sent to the client, would we be notified as well as the loss runs were obtained? So the big thing that I want to preface here is what we're doing is we're creating a time savings for you. So this is really I hate to say it, at the end of the day, we're not really doing anything different than you can do already. All we're really doing is we're automating the process. So it's kind of like, think of a car here. So you can walk to work and get there in say 30 minutes, or you can take a car and get there in 5. And what we're doing is we're providing that mode of transportation to get you through the initial process quicker. So once they're faxed out or sent out, it's completely out of our hands. We have no longer any control or any oversight of, success rate or connectivity. All we know is that we continue to get a ton of people very demanding on this product. And I would have to say, I know there's a few that asked, like, what's the success rate and things. I can tell you, if we didn't have the success rate that we had, we'd have cancellations all the time. We would have people not wanting to sign up for this product. But a lot of times, and Hunter can attest here, once people sign up, it's really rare we hear from our clients unless there's some sort of technical problem. But this has been a huge success for a lot of agencies. If you're worried about, is this going to work for me or whatnot? I know this is going to open a real big can of worms here, but if anybody wants to do a free trial, we can do a free trial as well if you guys want to do that. You will have to work with us though, because if everybody on this call requests a free trial all at once, it's going to put a lot of work on us. But we can certainly accommodate that. You just have to be a little patient if we have a ton of requests for that. But we can certainly activate that for you, and then you can give it a try. And it's only for 7 days, but you can try it for 7 days. Wait a week or two, see how those come through, and then if that's something it worked out well for you, then maybe you want to consider moving over to Appulate. But just that, I want to throw that out there, the trial as an option.
Yeah, and then obviously, this is something we're not just going to give you access to this platform and kind of make you figure it out on your own. We pride ourselves in our training. We pride ourselves in our communications with our customers. So we're going to, help you navigate the waters, so to speak, make sure you're trained up, ready to go, not just on the loss runner, but all the features in our platform. I would say that we're out there with some of the most comprehensive training in the industry. We want to make sure you guys know how to use it. And then also we got this question from Eli. Is this just for accounts that are currently with your agency or even for a new account that we are submitting? So it's for both. There's multiple different loss and request letters that are used in a multitude of situations that Dave kind of touched on. We also have our BOR function built in there as well, just to make that more simplistic for the customer to sign. But basically, if you're going to have a new customer to the agency, you're typically going to be using that letter of authorization. And then if they're already in your book of business and you want to resubmit, you will be able to obviously send it over without the client actually signing. If they're in your book of business and that is your account, you can actually sign as the agent to request those. That's an agency loss and request letter. So we have a multitude of letters in there that can be used for different situations. But short answer, Eli, it can be used for both new customers and existing customers.
All right, so we're at 32 after, so I think we're going to wrap it up for today. If we did not get to your question, we apologize. Please email us directly, the question that you may have sent us. We definitely want to get that answered for everybody. I apologize if we didn't get to everybody. We went over just a few minutes here on time. But please write down our name on our phone number and our email. I would prefer email because usually after these webinars, we get about 100 phone calls all at once. So if you could email us, that would be fantastic. And we will certainly answer those questions for you. Did you want to add anything else, Hunter?
No, we appreciate you guys hopping on today, and obviously we look forward to connecting with you one-on-one. Please reach out to us with any questions. We'd be more than happy. As Dave said, call if it's urgent, but emails are going to get responded to by the end of the day either way. So reach out to us, and be more than happy to take you guys through on how to either get set up on a trial or just get set up on the platform, or answer any questions you have. So thank you so much for attending today. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Hope to hear from everybody soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.